So
there's
what about in the contracts of employment, sort of the things that are legally binding from between a company and an employee? Are there any sort of major differences in the different regions in terms of, in this country the employee is hyper protected, whereas in this country the protection for the employee is less so, and the contracts kind of benefit the employer a little more?
right. Yeah, unions exist in South America, that's for sure. And in some countries, it may be stronger than in others. In Argentina, for example, it turned into, that's where I can speak of the most. And again, I would double check with locals, which we have, what the situation is at the moment, because it's very dynamic. I'm not trying to deviate from. I just don't want to give information that today may be true, and then
Yeah.
tomorrow may be different because of the change, the new elections, switch into some government that is more leftist. It
Yeah.
switches everything when it comes to that. But unions are strong in Brazil, in Argentina, in Chile, in Colombia, in Peru, and they are basically what we know they are. It's a double-edged sword. So knowing that they exist is something that is good to bring up at the very least in the interviews, if they belong to the unions or not, and if they are even willing to be hired as freelancers, or they expect a certain condition because of the. I think it needs to be asked at the moment. I mean, seriously, things change. I won't say daily, but they change radically, month after month, depending on how the play worked or didn't work. It's a little bit like what happened in the US recently with the elections. There was a timeline of things that were expected to happen, and then the tariffs bomb came up, and that switched things very radically all over. And that happens with government changes in Latin America as well. But sure, it's something that we can put together as we go forward in order to be able to give some guidance to the HR departments. My recommendation would be building good scripts that include some of these specific questions at the very beginning as filters, like if that's your condition, that you'll only be able to hire or are willing to hire if they are bilingual, if they are not in a union, if they are willing to have a 1-year contract that is renewable with a certain amount of advance notice to break it. Like freelancing contracts are very common at this time in history for Latin Americans, in order to get more opportunity to be hired by US companies, for example, or even Mexican companies.